What's up?
Hello.
We're back.
We are back.
Feels like it's been a minute, hasn't it?
Back in our living space.
Back in our tiny little room, which is not quite as expansive as the last time we came to you all live. How's everyone doing? Is our audio good? Hang on. It sounds like our audio's good. I got a delay.
Tim says audio's good.
Slight delay, but it's good.
Storm and Thrills gave us the go.
Oh, that Tim, not me, Tim.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, Tim, welcome in.
I should have specified.
Okay.
Happy New Year,
Happy
everyone.
New Year. Yeah, this is our first live stream of 2023. How's everyone doing? We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
We have actually too much to talk about tonight, which is why we actually broke it into two, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's see how everyone is doing tonight first. Who's it? You got Kaylee.
Hi, Kaylee.
What's up? Welcome. We got Chad and Vanessa.
2 tickets.
Doesn't feel like a real Tim and Katie live stream until Chad and Vanessa and Storm and Thrills are in. If y'all aren't here, we just have to cancel the live stream. Oh,
no
hey!
pressure.
Gamified is a rebrand, right? Like, I just noticed this a couple of days ago. You guys rebranded to Gamified. You guys, Gamified are our new friends who have just returned to YouTube after quite a hiatus. So definitely go check them out. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us. I think that's it for right now. That's totally cool.
Which is great.
That's totally cool. We got so much to cover. I can't spend all night greeting everyone. I just want to say too, we're a little rusty because we've been 3 weeks out of the live stream habit. And the last time we did a live stream was literally just like nonsense. We were pointing things out as we went.
Yeah, it was, we walked around on the phone with, do we have a gimbal? No, we just had
we just have the gimbal requires it to be like
it wasn't a
motion.
gimbal. What was it called? What is that thing called? Tripod. Oh my gosh.
Well,
a little bit of tripod. We walked around Aulani. It was a hot mess, but it was fun. If you want to see that one.
It was a unique experience. We actually did, if you were on that live stream, by the way, and some of you who in the comments currently were on that live stream, we did get copyright ding, believe it or not, for the small, like the 15 seconds that we were in the room with Moana talking to her. Somehow the Small World Hawaiian version got copyright ding. So whatever. It wasn't about making money. It was about having fun.
But if you want to see
it was a fun live stream. It was the first one we've ever done, just like walking around and being present in the moment. So that was a very different experience. I hope you'll enjoy it. But definitely that one's worth checking out. Donna's in as well.
Hey, Donna. Oh, you sent me a pin. Okay, I will look out for that pin. Thanks for jumping on.
To send us pin. No,
I do collect pins.
Yes, Matthew and Marie. Okay, so it is. I was almost 1,000% sure because I saw the
it was
the
the
logo.
Immortal Arcade before.
Yes,
right? I was like, it's arcade
yes.
something.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't forget that you existed. I just forgot what your previous channel name was, and so I was trying to parse that. I was pretty sure the logo was accurate.
Yes. Well, welcome. We're so glad you joined us.
Thank you all.
Stay
so
as
much
long
for
as you
joining.
want.
And then feel free to leave when we get boring. Because we get boring. So, the usual spiel, guys. Our socials are The Real Tim and Katie on Instagram. We have been trying so hard to be much better at Instagram because it's a very visual platform and we're very visual people. And we really, really want to be good at it, but we're not. So, we're practicing.
I will say that Tim has posted several reels from Aulani that I think are really nice. I contribute by sometimes taking the footage, but Tim really puts the reels together. So if you haven't checked out those reels yet, if you got a second,
there's some stuff.
Not today, not right this second necessarily, but if you want to give them a view, give them a like. I do think that they're really good and probably deserve more love, but it's okay. Of course, the Splash Mountain one we put up got like.
Yeah, that's always how it is. That's how it is with videos too. The ones that we just like throw up to have something are usually the ones that take off, and the ones we work really hard on are the ones that. Yeah. But anyway, in sum total, check out our Instagram.
We're doing better on Instagram.
We're doing better. Instagram is probably our primary social. Facebook is secondary, but we are trying to give Facebook a little love too. And then timandkt.net for the moment is totally caught up, and we're starting to work on more opinion pieces this year too, because we have been getting a little bit more exposure through the website, which was something we didn't expect. So we're going to be working on that as well too. So all of those things having been said, we're not here to talk about our socials. We're here to talk about paradise.
Yes. That was Hawaii.
By the way, I am not wearing like the most Hawaiian look tonight because it's just so cold in Northern Maryland right now. It's just so cold. I'm freezing to death. But Katie
still wearing short sleeves.
Katie is at least wearing like all Hawaii from head to toe, like the Kualoa and then the
kukui nuts. My flower. I'll talk about.
I did bring these out, and also I've got my.
He did get his
hat.
Aulani.
Yeah. So I am not quite on brand, but we'll make do. So this. I cannot believe we're here talking about this tonight because I just feel like this is still in my mind a bucket list trip.
I know.
That like is a fantasy that we would ever get to take, and we've taken it, and somehow we're back home, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
But
take me back.
But we did go to Aulani, guys. We went to Oahu. We flew into Honolulu. We took a officially, I think it is technically a limo. To the Aulani Resort. I'm getting ahead of myself, yes, but it happened, and we're going to be talking about it tonight.
We will explain the context of this photo later on in the live.
Yes.
But it is just our.
I feel cute.
Yes.
In this one photo ever period.
That was our luau night.
It is now my forever profile.
Definitely talk about the luau.
So, Hawaii trip report.
Dun,
the music
dun,
playing?
dun.
Yeah, it's playing. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget something. So I'm forgetting how to live stream, so I leave nothing to chance. So, Hawaii trip report, gang. This was where we were staying. This is Oahu. And believe it or not, flying into Oahu from Las Vegas, which is where we made our exchange, it looked like this. This is not my picture. This is a picture I stole from the internet, but it literally.
But we could have taken this picture.
We looked out the window and it was this. It looked like a freaking screensaver. Like it was gorgeous, and we were practically playing the Jurassic Park theme in our heads. Like,
and back there was a kid in the seat in front of us who I overhear things sometimes, who's actually a Make-A-Wish kid who wanted to go to Hawaii. And as he was looking out the window, he started singing the Jurassic Park theme too.
Yeah, and then I started singing along. And as
cute.
we're like entering that big dramatic refrain, the clouds peeled back and actually revealed what could very well have been the Jurassic Valley from the point we were flying over.
Yeah.
It's actually just like a whole range of all the mountains look like this because they were caused by volcanic eruptions as opposed to like earthquakes.
You just don't see mountains like this.
Yeah.
Like anywhere. I mean, maybe other places in the world. I don't know my world geography that well, but anywhere else in the United States, in the US, no.
It was incredible.
Incredible.
It was the single most expensive trip we've ever taken. Everything in Hawaii cost $1 million. The sales tax is astronomical as compared to even California, where we stopped later. But in Hawaii, you just
whatever your budget is, just increase it by
double
like 11%.
No, double it. You double that budget. I'm not even kidding. We spent so much money.
Okay, but
I can't even begin to talk about how much money.
Things.
We did. We did not. I mean, look, the whole trip was a splurge, so we weren't going to not splurge while we were there.
Someone went to the spa.
We'll get there. But I'm just saying, like this trip, however expensive it is going to be, if you all repeat what we're doing here, it is so worth it. Like it was the most beautiful place I think we've ever laid our eyes on and been physically present in. And I think by far it was our favorite vacation so far. Yeah. So, having said all of this about the terrain, we haven't even gotten to like anything that we did.
Do a whole live stream on this picture.
So, we're gonna follow just kind of normal trip report format for this because this is probably the easiest way to like break everything down, which means we're gonna start by talking about travel, the airport, the hotel we stayed at, which was of course Disney's Aulani Resort, and the surrounding neighborhood environment and areas. So, breaking it up by day. We spent a whole week in Hawaii. Whole week, guys.
It wasn't long enough.
It was not long enough. Keeping up in Disney.
Hello,
welcome. Welcome, guys. You joined just in time.
We're just getting started. Literally.
Just getting started.
We've been yammering on.
Yeah. if you're wondering, you can always join like 10 to 15 minutes late.
And then you'll actually get to the content.
All right, so we will talk about this too, but y'all probably saw in the news that Southwest had some issues over the holiday. We were flying exclusively Southwest this entire trip. And if you think it's a miracle that we made it home in one piece, wait till you hear what the rest of the miracles that align just so happen to be. But we did fly Southwest out of Baltimore Washington International before they had any major issues. I mean, they had normal like flight issues of, I think we were about an hour delayed out of the gate, but it wasn't awful.
No, I think it was like 45 minutes maybe.
Yeah. It was pretty much standard for airport travel.
I think that was when our plane was coming from somewhere else and it was that plane was behind schedule. So we were slightly behind schedule, but we didn't sweat it. We were good.
I would also like to say this was the first flight out of BWI in the morning. Literally every other line did not have a plane leaving. We left at 6:10 in the morning. Well, we were posted at 6:10 in the morning. We didn't leave right on time. But this was early. And so the very first thing we did was just stayed awake the night before. Yeah. Because as we were doing the math, we were like, okay, you know that if you're a seasoned traveler, you want to get to the airport about 2 hours early in case there's a long security line, which we're traveling for the Christmas holiday.
It was the week before Christmas.
We assumed it was going to be chaos. BWI was empty. Yeah. But we didn't know that. So we arrived 2 hours early, which meant we had to park the car 2 hours and half an hour early, which means we had to wake up 3 hours early, which means that we were basically just pushing our timeline back and back and back until we realized that we're going to lie down and get 2 hours of sleep. Let's just stay awake. Yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to stay awake. And because we did that, actually our bodies adjusted a lot more quickly to the time change, because we did hop through all the time zones of the United States before jumping to the island time zone, which is 5 hours behind.
Right.
So that was something, and I would actually recommend doing that.
Yeah, if it's feasible for you to, and you get that like first morning flight, if you can stay up as late as you possibly can. I did end up like taking a 45-minute nap on the couch or something. You'll crash that night. Hopefully after you've had a nice, good Hawaiian meal, and then we were on Hawaii time after that. It was wonderful.
So we did fly. There were no direct flights from Baltimore because that would be a lot of gas to go from Baltimore to Hawaii nonstop. But we did get a flight that was pretty direct to Las Vegas and have to transfer from there onto another Southwest flight that was leaving from Vegas to Honolulu. Now, the Vegas airport, not great. But we didn't have to spend much time there. We literally spent, if you've seen our vlog from our travel day, that's how much time we spent there. It was
kind of fun flying over Vegas and being like, oh, look, it's the Strat. Oh, look, it's like we've never been, but we've seen vlogs and stuff from it. It was kind of fun, but the airport was nothing to write home about.
No,
it was nice though, because we were staying Southwest. Our next gate was literally just around the corner. Like it was like,
we literally got off, we used the bathroom, and then we parked it at the gate adjacent to our gate, and then that was it.
And our bags transferred without issue. Yeah. Everything and everyone made it to Honolulu pretty much on time in one piece. We were a little late. We were late because we left BWI late, but our Vegas flight, I think, left a little bit late too, not terribly. But
I think actually the Vegas flight left right on time, and we landed early because we were expecting a 6-hour flight on the back end, and instead it was like 5. Yeah. Like we gained a whole hour, and not because of the time zone, but because the wind was with us, and it just worked out. Yeah. But I will say too, if you are, we wouldn't necessarily endorse flying Southwest because we've had plenty of issues with them, as I'm sure everyone has had with their own.
Because they're cheap and your bags fly free.
Because they're not Spirit, but they're cheap.
The staff are also like really nice. Like we've never had a problem with Southwest staff. But we understand if you don't use Southwest or don't want to.
If you were to fly Southwest because of the affordability, it is not a terrible flight from the East Coast to Hawaii, or it would probably be a much better coast from like the Midwest or California to Hawaii, because you wouldn't have 13 hours to travel. Yeah. But you do have a lack of legroom to deal with for that amount of time, so you do want to try to stand. And now, because of other things that we'll get to later, we weren't able to always be standing up or walking around during the flights. But you do have Southwest booking you all the way through. So even if you have to transfer, if you go and you book a flight from Baltimore to Honolulu, for example, they will figure in the time that's necessary to get you between gates at your transfer point. And you won't have to worry about your bag. Like Katie said, they'll move your bags over for you. They will go ahead and just push your tickets all the way through. You will have to print out 2 boarding passes when you get to the initial airport, and you'll have to hold on to them as you go. Mm-hmm. But if you misplace them, they've basically got you in the system and they'll take care of you. So it was a relatively easy booking process, and the flights, as we say, were not terrible. Yeah. So
I have to say, like, yes, there are times when like a direct flight is better. Like if I'm flying to Florida or California, I kind of want a direct flight. But when you have like 13 hours of travel, breaking it up into like 5 and 6 hour increments was really actually not that bad, because we did get like a leg stretch, a proper bathroom break before we had to get back on a plane again, and some more food. I was
gonna say, yeah, definitely. If you haven't already, please do check out our vlog from Travel Day, because there we go over everything we experienced that day, including the fact that Southwest offers the Hawaii to West Coast flights are the longest domestic flights that Southwest offers. So they do offer you an additional snack pack, like not like the little snack mix that you usually get on Southwest if you're familiar, but that plus like a whole host of other things that are exclusive to that flight between the West Coast
because
and
it's a little longer.
Yeah, and because it's a little longer, they often gear their newer planes towards that flight and arrange the schedule to give that plane, because it has a little bit more fuel capacity, which that plane is a MAX 8. It has a little bit more leg room. So definitely. It's an experience. It's a Southwest experience, but it's an experience. Anyway, we can't spend all night on the flight, but
we need to move on to the actual good stuff.
When we got to Honolulu, most beautiful airport we've ever seen. Again, check out our vlog. We got some shots from the Honolulu airport. That it was the first airport we ever just wanted to sit and chill in. But we didn't, because we had prearranged transportation lined up. Now, this was not cheap, this ride from the airport to the Aulani Resort. But I think it was a necessary evil in terms of cost. And we were so glad that we had it lined up once we got there, because literally the second we touched down, and they were keeping track of our flight and whatnot too. The second we touched down, there was someone waiting for us at baggage claim who called me direct and said, looks like your bags have just arrived. So go ahead and grab whatever you need to grab. And then if you want to come meet me at the visitor stand. And so we walked over there, and this lovely young lady, whose name we unfortunately did not get, was sitting there with a cart and helped us load all our stuff onto a cart, pushed our cart out into the waiting area. And in the waiting area of the airport loop, there was this big honkin' SUV that was like leather seats and like trim that had like the neon lining inside, like it was a prom limo, but a smaller one.
Yeah.
And Kevin Shee, I believe, was our... No, Andy Shee. Sorry, I don't know where I got Kevin from.
I know we got
Andy Shee. It was just a name. Andy Shee was our driver from Platinum Transportation, and he was terrific. Took us direct to Aulani Resort, made sure we were comfortable, asked us questions, asked us how he could help us.
Yeah.
And familiarized us with the area.
He was like a tour guy. He was pointing out the sites to
There's
see.
Pearl Harbor.
There's a water park. Here's this. And I would ask questions, and he would answer, and it was very nice.
Now, the reason we went with Platinum Transportation is because this is the Disney recommended. If you go to Aulani's website, they have a list of recommended vendors. Platinum was like at the top of their list for like transfers from the airport to the resort and elsewhere on the island.
Interpret that as...
Yeah, it was not cheap. I think the total ride was almost $100 more than the follow-up ride that we took back from the resort later with a different company. But it was, I mean, I would say it was worth the experience. If you want to arrive and feel like you're on vacation immediately, this was a good way to spend it.
It was.
It was, I believe it came to about $240 for the commute.
This is me hearing that for the first time.
I don't always tell Katie about that.
Yay!
It was not cheap, but it was a holiday week. And so a lot of people were, although there are a lot of limo companies on the island that will work on holidays like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, this was a holiday week when all the kids were out of school and everyone is trying to juggle scheduling conflicts. And so we were very grateful that there were companies out there that were willing to book us transition between one place and the next.
We will note, though, that one of our, I wouldn't say fears, but one of our concerns was getting to and from the airport in general, because Aulani's not close and we've been told it can take up to an hour to get to the airport. Well, that is on a normal business day when there's traffic and people going to work and kids going to school. It turns out that on mid-December, once kids are done with school, there's no traffic. It is literally a clean shot. We never had any traffic that entire week. So that's just something to think about. Do your research.
And that would impact decisions we would make later if we had to make them over again.
So we had a very quick, maybe half-hour tops ride from the airport to Aulani.
And we actually made that same drive a little while later. Times. So again, in our vlog at the airport in Honolulu, they have this whole expansive garden that is based on, and we did more homework on the back end, but it's
a Japanese garden and a Hawaii garden.
It's a huge garden that is made up of those three. So all the different cultures that influence Hawaiian culture on Oahu and presumably the other Hawaiian islands, they all have representation in the garden, which is very, very cool. So perhaps we should talk about what everyone wants to hear about.
I know, because we're like, why are they still talking about the airport?
So I will say this one thing, and we did get a question on Instagram that I will reference later too, but if you see that top left picture.
I was going to say the pool never looked like that.
It will never look like that.
Never, ever looks like that.
The entire time you're there, you will never see the pool that specific pool was for all ages, and it was chaos.
It was.
And we have a whole video on water features at Aulani that will be coming out as its own little
breakout
thing.
That is not the only pool.
No, there's
it is a cool
so
pool,
many pools.
But that
specific pool
never looked like that.
There were 2 people in it when that picture was taken.
That's a lie.
Never see less than 30.
Behind these people is about 100 other people storming to get to the pool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was a thing. But the room,
view looks like that.
The view does look like that. And the room, you can see on the bottom right, that is actually our picture on the bottom right that we took as we walked in. That was actually after the maids came in on our 4th day.
Yeah.
We were DVC, so
the Mickey towel came on our cleaning day.
Yeah. So.
And this. Wait, I keep missing which side of my head it's on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have more to say about your question, Vanessa, but that was at least the reference point I was going to use.
Yeah.
The actual resort was absolutely glorious, and it's easily our favorite Disney resort. From this point forward. Like, it's nothing else is
Nothing's gonna be
I would say the closest thing to measure up in terms of like accessible Disney resorts on Walt Disney World or Disneyland resort property that we've visited domestically would be the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it is so far removed from anything you can experience in the continental United States. It's all so well themed, and yet it's got that like Disney touch.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interactivity.
There's so much uniquely Aulani in Hawaii too, that it definitely has the Disney touch, but it doesn't just feel like another Disney resort.
It is Joe Rohde's masterpiece.
It's so beautiful.
And we still have tons and tons of Aulani vlogs coming out because we're trying to drop at least one a week. So we have content for months that will be leaking out slowly. You guys will get up close and personal with everything we experienced to an extent. So Aulani, at the end of the day, I think was, once we got there, we walked out onto our balcony and we were like, oh my goodness, this is going to be the best week of our entire lives. Francis, thanks for joining.
Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah, 22 hours is,
oh my gosh,
that would hurt me.
I think that'd be worse than.
That would break my heart.
Yeah, that'd be worse than not going at all.
You need to go back. I understand why it's like you gotta plan that out, but yeah. Hopefully you'll make it back there one day.
And you'll get to spend quality time there.
All right. So we're going to move straight into, we got a lot of days still to go. Yeah. We're moving straight into the what went well, what went poorly section.
And that was on our
This was all our travel
first
day. Our travel day in sum total was 13.5 hours of travel plus another half hour to the resort. So we'll round up to 14.
Yeah.
And then we got probably about a quarter of daylight at Aulani by the time we were all settled in. So we started our Aulani day at around 4 o'clock Honolulu time. By the time we actually got moving.
Yeah.
What went well over the course of this travel day was getting to Aulani and seeing this was our balcony. Like, this is the view off of our balcony. This was what we walked out and saw once we entered the room. And our room was ready on arrival, by the way.
And
so
the
it was literally
sun was shining.
It was
the ocean
phenomenal.
was there. The ocean is that white stuff.
Yeah,
you can't see it.
It's a little bit blown out.
It's angled down a little bit too much. But it was just like, and the temperature was warm.
It looked like a postcard.
It was.
It looked like a postcard.
It was warm, but not that sticky Florida humid warm.
That's the other thing.
Why.
Hawaii doesn't have humidity. I mean, I'm
it
sure it
does,
but it doesn't have it like constantly. Like
feel oppressive like it is in Florida sometimes. It was just delightful.
You may find us romanticizing Hawaii a little bit during this live stream.
I don't think I'm exaggerating at all about how wonderful Hawaii is.
What went poorly? This was kind of
I can't remember what we said.
I do remember, but a lot of the time during this live stream we'll really be nitpicking to find things that went wrong.
Okay, I remember.
So in this initial instance, what went poorly was basically just BWI wasn't open.
Right. Well,
effectively, BWI was closed when we got there.
The BWI was open, but Southwest didn't open until 4 a.m.
Southwest didn't open, and security didn't open.
So
we couldn't we had to sit for about 45 minutes and do twiddle our thumbs.
Too early.
So we were hungry and we hadn't slept, and
even
we were
though
chilling.
It was empty, I will say by like 4:30, that place came alive. It was like, oh, here are all the Christmas.
Yes, and
travelers.
If we had arrived 1 hour early instead of 2 hours early, there's a chance we might have been a little bit late if our flight hadn't been delayed. But so I'm not sure I would go back and do anything differently. It's just unfortunate that, we had the first flight of the entire airport schedule that day, and no one was there to accommodate the 15 people like us that showed up on time.
Yeah.
I'm nitpicking though. I am. That wasn't a huge thing.
It otherwise was a very, very smooth travel.
Let's talk about what we did. People are interested, I think.
Maybe.
I mean, Tim is just starting to pay attention now. We love you, dude. So Sunday was our first full day at the resort, and we deliberately did not plan a ton for this day. There was one or two things that we had booked because we knew we wanted to have at least one reservation to accommodate, but we'll get there. So this day was mostly, let me pull the live graphic down because it's covering some of the carefully crafted, namely the Katie in it.
The me.
So we woke up and we walked out onto the balcony, and it was pretty much exactly as we'd left it. There was a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
So as we're walking around, we noticed that when it's windy in Hawaii, they sometimes pull the character meats inside, or they move some of the particularly fragile things away from the open air.
Yeah. And when it gets windy, it does feel a little colder. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't like the 82 degrees we walked in.
I never needed a jacket the entire time we were in Hawaii.
It was like,
and this is me wearing a hoodie right now because I'm just the slightest bit.
I will say, there were hot tubs there, and we used them because sometimes we were like, ooh, it's a little breezy.
Yeah. So we did a lot of shopping and character meeting on this day. That was kind of like what we wanted to do, was just get out and explore. Now, I will say we started filming this as a whole vlog unto itself. And then it started raining, which we're looking at the forecast and we saw rain is possible every day. We're thinking, hey, it's tropical like Florida. Rain could just happen constantly and it might not mean anything. It probably comes through and then leaves. And according to cast members at Aulani, that's exactly what it does. It's supposed to come through, last for 30 minutes tops, and then roll on. And then,
and
6 hours later, you get another
one. Like Florida rain. It's like a light rain, a sprinkling, and it usually stops.
Right. Hey, Walking with the Woods made it in.
Hello. Oh, Tim likes my Masubi Mickey. That's my only wishable I've ever gotten, and I wanted it because it was Aulani specific.
And the tragic thing is we did film her opening it, but we'll get to that.
It's the one I wanted, and it's the one I got.
We'll get to why that's tragic.
I will say they are very squishy and very soft, just like I've heard.
This was also in the top right, our first time ever meeting Moana.
But not the last!
We would go on to meet her several more
like 4 times,
including one of the live streams that we did from. Well,
I think she was concerned about us.
I would be concerned about us
She's like,
too.
oh God, here they come again.
She was a gem, and she was so nice, and she had tons of stories to tell us. And here's the thing about Character Meets It. You tell everyone about Character Meets It, Aulani.
So
because it's Katie's favorite thing about the
one of my favorite things about the resort was the characters, which I wasn't expecting it to be. I honestly wasn't sure what to expect about characters, to be honest. I knew they would be there because it was Disney, but I didn't know, first of all, how often they'd be around, and second of all, just how kind of different a Character Meet at Aulani is. It's not a theme park. It's not a, park affiliated resort, and your pool of guests is smaller. So characters spend a lot of time with you.
You don't have 150 people behind you in line.
Like there may be like 20 people, and they'll stay out for a while too, like longer than you might think. Even some of the fully clothed characters, I don't know, non-face characters. Suit? No, we don't want to call it a suit.
We don't want to call it a suit because they don't wear suits.
I wanted to say like full
fuzzy
head to toe costume characters. Stitch.
We're talking about Stitch.
Yeah. Anyway,
Stitch and Ohana.
They will spend a long time with you. You can talk. You can do a lot of photos. The photo pass photographers there know their stuff. There were so many times when we had like a cell phone and a camera, and they'd grab the camera. They literally vlogged for
like
us.
An action shot. Like they would take our GoPro and then they would do like this with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this looks wild.
And we'd be like taking pictures, and they'd be like, Mickey, say hi to the camera. And Mickey runs up to the camera, runs into it. It was just so the character interactions, which I know sounds a little stupid. Like you went all the way to Hawaii and you love meeting Disney characters you can meet in parks. Yes, I did. It was a lot of fun.
But you can't meet them this way in the parks. It was very different, and it was very personal. It was more interactive than I think any other character meets.
They recognize you. If you are there for a week, Mickey, Goofy, Moana certainly remember you, and they will like check in on you. Yeah. Like we saw Mickey, and Mickey was like pointing at his stomach and pointing at my ears because I was wearing these same ears. And I was like, oh yeah, breakfast was great. We had a great breakfast. And he was like, yeah, good. It's like, it was really good. Anyway, I'm rambling on about the characters, but don't sleep on it.
It's a
Make
must
sure
do.
to meet some characters.
It's a must-do, fam.
They come to the pool. You can get out of the pool and take a picture with them. It doesn't matter. Indoors, outdoors.
And we also want to say, and we mentioned this in our day one vlog too, they have a line, like a speed dial from your room that you can call. That's just a hotline, tells you exactly where the characters are going to be at what time. And it changes every day. Like there's no set schedule until the day of. You have no idea where they're going to pop up unless you call that number or just happen to walk by. And then in addition to like the posted times, there are also like roaming characters that will walk around on patrol, like at Disneyland.
Yep.
And you might see them or you might not. But we saw and did not get photos with Stitch and Angel together as a pair. But if we had planned a little further in advance, we might have.
Or if we had just waited in that line because we were like, oh, the line's kind of long and we want to keep going.
Well, we did like 3 other characters.
Angel, we did see Stitch more than once, but we didn't see Angel again.
The that I saw, three that I saw only once all week were Olumel, who we'll get to, Shelly May, who we'll get to, both Duffy characters, and then Angel. Everyone else I saw repeatedly, and they did have posted times, but those 3 were, I would guess, kind of more rare. Luckily, we got most of them in Selfie Club.
In one form or another.
Back to our day. So character meeting was a big part of this first day. And this actually was the only time I think we got a photo with Donald.
Yeah, so Donald was actually a little more elusive.
First day.
But look how cute he is in a little Hawaii shirt.
We also...
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Yeah, we had an amazing
meal.
Expensive expensive dinner.
Meal experience.
Ama. Okay, now when we booked Ama, let me be clear. When you go and you book reservation-capable dining on the Aulani website, you got to do it, first of all, about 60 days in advance, and you got to do it like at the 60-day mark. Similar to Disney World and Disneyland, I suppose, but in this case, there's only 2 reservation-only restaurants on Aulani property. So you're not in a pool with people scrambling for, 16 different restaurants that are popular. You're scrambling for the same 2 restaurants with everyone else that's staying.
And I would say if you do pay attention to your reservation window and you haven't booked like a trip a month in advance, you can get into everything. I would think. If you want to just eat everywhere once, you probably can. And some of the places are walk up only, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. But Ama.
If you can't see, this place is fancy enough that at the top right, they have their own branded ice cubes.
Yeah. This is their beachside dining. So when we first got there and we're walking around the resort, I didn't know where this restaurant was, but I was like, what are all these tables? And they were literally like beachside, ocean view dining.
They're almost on the beach. Like you can throw a rock and hit the waves.
Yeah, there's live music there. And I was like, what is this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Ama. This is where we're having dinner tomorrow. Oh my gosh. And it did kind of rain. Remember, I think Tim mentioned it had rained this day, but thankfully it did clear up in time for us to have dinner there. It was windy as heck though.
Yeah.
They actually brought
They have shawl service.
Yeah.
So they offered us shawls to keep us warm at the table.
Yeah.
Because
I had my sweater, so I was okay.
Well, our bottom right photo there is what we were addressing as. So they do have a dress code here too. This is a nice restaurant, guys. This is not like you probably could get away with walking up out of uniform, so to speak, but
Victoria and Albert's almost level dining.
And it costs about the same.
Yeah, it was not cheap.
I meant to get to this point when I first started talking, but I got sucked into the food and the experience and all of that. When we booked Ama, we booked it thinking this is one of 2 reservation-only restaurants. We know we want to try them both. Okay, all well and good, and I don't think I regret that decision. But they don't tell you how much this meal is going to cost when you book it. So if I'd known that, I might have budgeted a little more carefully. I would have made the same choice for sure, but I would have budgeted a little more carefully, because when all was said and done, this was $235 a person for the meal we had.
Yeah.
And you can order cocktails on top of that, or you can order a $55 per person wine pairing for the whole meal. Yeah. But it's set.
We also ordered 3 cocktails, and I cannot tell you how much those cost. I do not know.
No,
but that's optional. You don't have to get 3 cocktails. So that take away some of that for the price too. But you're probably spending at least $150 a person. And I will say they do have a they call it keiki over there. They do have a children's option that I don't think is as expensive because it is a prefix.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Meal. Dessert was part of it because it's all prefixed. So you pay a flat rate for the courses, and then you select your courses from similar to Be Our Guest.
Yeah. Dessert was great. I'm
better than
trying to remember what I ate because I just cannot. I've for the life of me, I'm like,
I don't remember what it was called, but I do have a picture.
Was it creme brulee? No, that was
yours. Might have been.
I don't remember. I just remember this meal in total was delicious. The 2 things on the slide are 2 of Tim's items.
Because I was frantically taking pictures like the outsider that I am.
Yeah. So you, I think the actual price of the dinner is something like $125, but then if you get coffee, you get cocktails, you get whatever.
So I did not include it in the PowerPoint presentation, but hold up, that was my dessert. It's like a chocolate ganache, and that's a marshmallow and a dark chocolate weird witch hat on top with fruit, and it was excellent. And then
I had
on top of that, I also got hot cocoa, which came to me as this. I was thinking it was going to be like a little mug, and I was like, I'm kind of chilly. I'm going to have a hot cocoa. But it was all of this, and it had Mickey sprinkles on top.
Yeah.
So all of this and more we ate for dinner, and it was fabulous, but it was not something that could be done twice.
I will say, if you can, before booking it, look up a menu. It was the most adventurous I think Tim has ever eaten, and I stepped outside of my comfort zone a little bit to try some things that I thought were really, really good. So that's hilarious. Yes, it was all the ice cube.
Little did we know, if we hadn't have gotten so many drinks, we wouldn't have had to pay so.
So the meal, worth it. We may not, if we ever go back to Aulani, we may not do it again unless a menu drastically changes
we'll probably
or
do it
something.
Again. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. We'll do it again. We'll just budget for it.
Okay, we'll budget for it, and maybe
we'll say that's our one nice meal, and everything else will be McDonald's.
And maybe not do a helicopter tour in the same week. You know, that thing.
Oh yeah, let's get to that.
Yeah.
But before that, so this was the kind of conclusion of our day, our second day, and over the course of the day, we were trying to vlog everything. We were going to do a day 2 vlog that was consistent the same way that our day 1 vlog had been with travel, and just be like our big long day 2 exploring and experiencing. So we did film as much as we could of dinner. We filmed as much as we could of the walking around and meeting characters. As Katie indicated, I did splurge a little bit. We were a little bored midday because we, didn't want to wander off property. We're still exploring, but we also had nothing to do for 2 hours until dinner time. So I went to the spa to see if they had any walk-up availability, and they took me for a facial. Do not regret it. Cost $150, but
I thought it was $250.
It was not. It was $150, and then I couldn't.
All right.
So all of that having been said and done, we went back to the room, crashed for the night, woke up the following day to disaster. But look at that, great.
You could watch the sunset from a room. It was glorious.
You wouldn't think that looking at that sky on night 2 would lead to like the day we had the following day, but we'll get there. So what went well on this day? I would say just about everything up to a certain point, which we didn't even know of this certain point until the following day. Yeah. This is the view of the sun setting on the beach. They do have it's not a private beach because every beach in Hawaii is technically public, but it is isolated. It is
it's
split
between
quiet. The Four Seasons and Disney's Aulani.
It's not like the waves aren't huge. You're not going to be like surfing out there, but people rent like boogie boards and paddle boards and get out there on.
And we actually met with I have a work friend, believe it or not, that lives on the island, and we met with that work friend by random chance in the Aulani lagoon. And the reason she said she came down is because it's safe. It's a public beach that's in a nice area that she knows is safe for her family, and she's got little ones. Yeah. So it's a very good beach, and everything we experienced on day 1, I think, was part of what made the day great. Yeah. I think we were very, very happy. Then came disaster. So this is only a disaster because of who we are and what we like to do and how we like to experience things, not because it was anything the resort did wrong. Nothing went wrong with the weather that day. It's just this. So I have this image of us meeting Moana, right? You notice that we're standing around having a nice time, but you also notice we're taking some footage of her. She was great on camera, by the way. She loved being part of whatever we were doing, even though sometimes it seemed like she was like trying to figure out what we were doing. But this footage is footage you will never see. And the reason is because apparently at some point over the course of day 1 to day 2, some of the adhesive that holds our wind muffler to the camera got into the mic itself. So all of our audio from the entirety of day 2 is basically garbage. Like you can't hear anything. And I was able to clean up some of it for a vlog that we're releasing this week, which was too good to lose. And we were able to kind of buffer it with some creative edits. And hopefully it's not going to be an absolutely trash vlog. But the day before, when we were walking around shooting all of this, when we went to Ama, we have great visuals that we'll use in the highlight reel, but the footage is just not usable.
So we did vlog the Ama experience, which I'm really sad you guys won't get to see.
And it was like our waiter was fantastic.
She was just wonderful. She was
very attentive and very engaged, and she loved us. This is also probably the most vlog-friendly resort we've ever been to.
Oh, yes.
So everyone was like living it up in front of the camera. She literally
showed us on the table, like, this light here, you can use it and hold it up to your food. hold it up to your food. Oh, let me get you. I mean, she just like, would you like, she's the one who brought us the branded ice cube because technically it was only supposed to be for like one of the old fashions.
Little did we know
we
it
didn't
cost
order.
$200.
And she was like, let me get you ice. So it won't be released. It was already stressful enough for Tim to edit the one video. So you won't see it, but you can trust us that it was amazing. We were already going to voice over some of it because it was so windy.
We voiced over what we were releasing on Thursday, but a lot of it is just like, if you can't be in the moment with us and what we're experiencing, it's really not as powerful.
Yeah. Plus, it was just grating on Tim.
But it will be part of a highlight reel that we will release towards the end of this whole vlog series. So there will be that. Monday.
And then Monday happened.
Monday was a whole barrel of laughs. Okay. So we mentioned that in Hawaii, you get those on and off showers. It just comes through, it showers for 30 minutes. And we did have lots of those later in the week.
We did.
And they were no disruption.
None of them lasted more than 15 minutes.
This, you guys may or may not have heard, depending on where you are in the US, of the bomb cyclone that dropped across the Midwest and the Northeast. Well, that bomb cyclone started as a powerful wind system in Hawaii. So we got it 2 days before y'all did in the United States. And what it did, it rolled in looking like this. This is what we woke up to. And this doesn't look bad, but you can tell in the distance, if you've not seen anything like this, that's all rain coming down on the ocean a couple miles.
And that's not half an hour of rain.
No.
That's like 10 hours straight of rain.
The rain isn't even what did it, although you will see the level of rain in our upcoming vlog on Thursday. But what really did it for Aulani, and something that they've not seen in many years.
They said at least 5 years.
Yeah, it's a once in probably a decade event.
Yeah. For this time of year, for December.
Yeah, which very uncommon.
It was very uncommon, yeah.
What we got were gale force winds that effectively closed off every outdoor area at the resort. Now, you guys are familiar with Walt Disney World Resort hotels, probably with Disneyland hotels, maybe. You know that most places will have basically like 4 or 5 indoor shops and restaurants, 4 or 5 outdoor shops and restaurants, maybe 2 kiosks or whatever. This is not what Aulani is. Aulani is, because of the way that Hawaii weather is, Aulani is mostly open air. So like, of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different eating options, 2 of them, and not even 2, 1.5 of them are inside.
Yeah.
Everything else is outside, including all of the pools as well. But primarily what we were thinking about at this time, at this moment in time, was food. Because if you can't go outside, it means you can't get to 3.5 of the 5 eating options on campus. And there's a whole mess of steps that they had to work through to get us food, not specifically us, but like, you know, resort guests.
Yeah.
Because the one restaurant that's inside is the Makahiki restaurant, where you have to make reservations.
Yeah.
So they don't have a ton of walk-up availability at that restaurant. People are hungry. They're trying to figure out what to do.
They did allow you to order to go from Makahiki if you wanted to for the first time ever. Yeah. But we knew we were going there for dinner later, so we opted not to do that.
And we did come up with some alternative plans, which we'll talk about. But this all kind of feeds into the day we're going to have.
And this day, we did have a breakfast reservation. So it was already raining. We were doing our character breakfast. Hi, Zoe. We're talking about Aulani.
And actually, this is going to be the screen grab that makes Zoe fume a little bit, because she reacted poorly on Instagram. I kid. She was maybe a little jealous.
The young goof. Yeah. So that was us having character breakfast at Makahiki, which went on rain or shine. They just closed.
We started with this character breakfast, and this actually we got going ahead of the rain. So like, people were still wandering indoor outdoor at this point in time, but at a certain point during this day, they did shut down the outdoors indefinitely. They put like big bike fences up around all of the exit doors, and they posted cast members to make sure that no one went out. And the reason being because trees were falling down. That's how windy it was.
Yeah.
So it was not
dangerous.
It was not great, because there we are trying to like get out and do things and enjoy. And part of, half the fun of Aulani is being outside and enjoying the water park area.
Yeah.
But All of that was closed. So we got our character breakfast. It was magical. This is the one vlog I was able to save from.
It still
the
has
mess.
the crappy audio.
It's still rough. It's still rough, and I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. But we managed to salvage, I think, enough of it to give you a indication of how the experience is. Everything else from the day prior is garbage.
Not happening.
But yeah, we did get to see Max, which was a rarity. These characters at the Makahiki restaurant seem to rotate out. And Makahiki is only character during breakfast. It is not character in the evening.
Yeah.
So we kind of we booked it. We got one reservation for character breakfast. It was the one reservation we had. And we got the set of characters that we got. And that set just happened to include Max Goof, which we've never met him before.
Nope,
so
not ever.
That was dope. I also did a little sing-along with him with the Goofy movie.
We did
stand out.
Fanboy over Max a little bit.
We did, with good reason.
Yeah, we were like, we're a big fan of your music and your movie.
That vlog will be dropping Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, if anyone is interested in checking it out. Don't get your hopes up too high. The other thing that we did have booked on this day, and fortunately most of this was able to go ahead as planned, was the spa. Now, I had already been for facial, so I got to experience the outdoor area. That's the bottom right, and that's just a very small piece of the outdoor area. Mm-hmm. We did not take our phones or our camera into the spa because it's a very zen, quiet experience, and most of the spaces are community spaces where people probably don't want you shouting into a camera, telling everyone about what you're seeing. But the experience, while expensive, like everything else we've been discussing,
it was a wonderful spa experience.
So amazing and so unique. I don't think we've ever had a spa experience quite like this, and honestly, I don't think that any spa can measure up after having experienced this. This on the top left, there's a little pendulum, and that's a little pool, which you can't really tell super well from the image, but I took that one with my phone before I put it away. This is indoors, and that area is an area where you are given a stone that you pick at random, blind, basically you close your eyes, and it's got a word written on it like strength, harmony, spirit, dream. And you go and you take that rock and you make a wish and you drop it into this pool. And the pendulum is supposed to swing around and make your dream come true. I don't understand all of the cultural heritage behind it, but I do recognize that it is.
It was a very, it's like meditation.
Yeah, it helps you get kind of into the zone a little bit. Yeah. And once you go for treatment, I mean, these people are the best at what they do. Like, I've never had a more unique. We had a couples massage, and there was a lot of stretching involved and a little bit of chiropractic.
The traditional lomi lomi, which lomi just means massage in Hawaiian. I did a little bit of research on it, but it was like a very, they would take, there was some manipulation of your arms, hands, whatever that was, not painful or anything. Yeah. But it did involve some stretching, and that was quite a nice massage. And it was aromatherapy because they had to choose which scent you wanted the massage oils to be. And
there's a lot of scents that are unique to the Hawaiian Islands too. They really like that guava jelly.
Well, you picked the plumeria scent.
I did.
And I picked the jasmine, which is pikake. I just remembered that it was pikake.
You come home from Hawaii feeling like you're part Hawaiian, but it's better not to walk around doing this work.
Well, it was only because everyone is so welcoming and doesn't really treat you like you're
like family. Ohana.
It is like Ohana.
We talked too about the food situation. So, as Katie said, what they had done for food as we came out of our massage feeling quite hungry because it's around 4 or 5 o'clock, which in U.S. time, East Coast, would be 10 o'clock. We found at around 5 o'clock p.m. Honolulu time a long line at the Makahiki restaurant because, as Katie said, they were allowing you to do walk up and takeaway for the first and only time at the Makahiki restaurant.
And they had grabbed the grab and go things like sandwiches, fruit cups, things like that from the Ulu Cafe, which is right next to the pool, and brought it inside so that you could purchase some things there. I meant to grab them, but we did buy the resort refillable cups that you can refill with coffee sodas or whatever.
You can get those at Aulani too. They did for a week.
And they brought the coffee inside so that people could refill their coffee, and I think they may have been just handing out soda for people who wanted it because there were no refill machines. So they were trying. I do not blame anyone at Aulani for what happened. They did the best they could. You cannot help when nature attacks so fiercely. But it's a miracle that in their efforts and everything that no one was injured. Like no one was outside in the storm doing stuff, but there were a lot of precarious situations going on.
We walked out and we saw that line and we were like, this is literally the only place on the resort property to get food right now.
Also, we had been kind of inside most of the day and it was finally starting to like brighten up after all day. So I'll be honest, I was getting real cabin fever. It was not that long, but I was like, I'm here to be outside and I want to be outside and I cannot stay inside anymore.
Well, but the thing of it is, while Disney was cleaning up all the damage from the storm, which at this point they were doing, the storm had come and gone. It was a little windy, but not really as bad as it had been. So the outdoor areas were fenced off because there was so much damage and they had construction equipment out there cleaning up. But the actual environment was not bad.
No.
So we went to the front desk and we said, hey, is there anything that we can do for food except stand in that line? And the concierge we spoke to was more than happy to list off every single thing that was within walking distance or driving distance from the Aulani Resort, which includes, everything right next door at the Four Seasons or the Marriott. They have options there that they were trying to accommodate people at. What we wound up doing was going across the street. Now, this is Ko'olina. This is one restaurant of many that's in this little shopping center. And this, I think it was Chad and Vanessa who asked about the ABC store. This is also where the ABC store is. And we did get a couple things while we were there, like Pop-Tarts and stuff. Well, you got that one there. I got this from the Luau.
Yes, I bought these.
So, monkey pods, yo. This was actually a suggestion that Zoe made to us.
Zoe's been to monkey pod.
Oh, yeah, Zoe loves monkey pod. It's her favorite spot. So we did have to wait probably about 30-40 minutes to get a table because everyone else is doing the same thing we are. But it was so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it. And honestly, we burned off 30-40 minutes like it was nothing because we were exploring this brand new area.
We were shopping and we went to the ABC store.
We went and did all our gift shopping, got a little baggie, and then by the time we were done, it was, time to sit down. And this experience was above and beyond. I think the best Kahlua pork we've ever had, we got on pizza at this monkey pod place.
I think the luau Kahlua pork was pretty good too, but
it can be pretty good and not the best.
You can
disagree, but I do not.
I do think this was my favorite of the. We had a lot of Kahlua pork pizzas and flatbreads during the week, and I think this was the best one of those.
Yeah,
it was so good.
So. Everything having been said and done, we did lose a little bit of our planned activity time because of the weather, but we didn't get, a bomb cyclone, which was nice. We were down for about a day and a half on the outdoor activities at Aulani because of this weather. And I will say that the nice. This was not our picture.
Well, no, but by the time we went to Monkey Pod, the wind and stuff had died down.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
The storm lasted 6 to 8 hours maybe, but the cleanup from the storm was
lasted
36 hours. Yep. It was the rest of that Monday and most of Tuesday before they literally, everyone is, you can see people hovering at their balconies, and I'm I literally started singing "Tell the guards to open up the gates" because I was just I want to go outside. Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
It was an experience, but I will say, as I've already said, we didn't get a bomb cyclone like the East Coast did. We didn't drop into the -5s or whatever like our friends at home did.
The weather after that was the dream. The dream came back after that.
I will also really quickly say that there was a Hawaiian Airlines flight that was on its way to Honolulu. Several of the people on that flight were scheduled to check in at Aulani, as we were told by concierge, because it was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
The preceding turbulence that brought that storm in and the winds that followed was rough enough that if you haven't read the news story, because it broke while we were away, people on that Hawaiian Airlines flight were roughed up by the turbulence enough to have broken bones in their collarbones and like the clavicles.
I think at least one person broke their collarbone and had to be hospitalized, but a lot of people
went to the ER.
Some people did have to get medical attention after that.
That could have been us because we flew in a day earlier. So, and we had beautiful weather when we flew in.
Yeah.
So I will say, as unfortunate as the weather coming through and leaving
I'm
cleanup to be
glad we
done,
were already in Hawaii.
Yeah.
If it had happened like as we were trying to come in, that could have been bad. And if it happened like at the end of our stay, that would have, taken away our last day. So if it had to happen, I'm kind of glad it happened where it did. We got to still have a Mama dinner, which would have certainly been canceled. That was closed. But anyway.
Yeah.
Monkey Pod was a good meal.
Well, before you continue, what went well is that we had.
I thought you had pictures of Monkey Pod in here.
I do, but it wasn't going to be just that.
Oh,
Stop trying to precede my my work.
I thought.
Why do we even review the presentation? It all goes out the window. So our breakfast with Mickey and friends, Mickey, Max, Goofy, and Pluto were our characters from Akahiki. Amazing. Again, just characters are on a different level at Aulani. The time you spend with them at your table. This is
a picture of me showing Mickey my ears that Kim from Starting Over the Magic made. There's a little stitch hiding in the pineapple.
And that is all up in our vlog,
which
too.
I realize might be kind of hard to see with the ring light.
Keep it angled down a little bit.
Anyway, that's Stitch. And I tell you, like, every time I showed that to characters, they lost their minds. Or cast members, like everyone, they lost their minds. Goofy, I think, almost fell on the floor, which was a great moment.
So character breakfast was great, and then our spa experience. How do you say it? Lani Y Spa.
Lani Y.
So our spa experience was also phenomenal. I'm glad we were able to do this and that we had booked it for this day because, as you might imagine, when there's not a lot to do, the spa appointments start filling up for day of availability. Mm-hmm. And here's your monkey pod.
I knew. Okay, as soon as Monkey Pod was great.
Monkey Pod was phenomenal. That's Katie with her
me
Mai
drinking
Tai.
a Mai Tai, which was probably the best drink I had the entire trip.
Genuine Hawaiian Mai Tai.
Oh my gosh. Apparently they have award-winning Mai Tais there, and I believe it. That was
and then
so
the
good.
Monkey Pod Kahlua pork pizza there in the middle was phenomenal. And then we got
pork belly tacos?
Pork belly tacos.
Or El Pastor tacos.
No, it was pork belly. El Pastor came from the Hilton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Monkey Pod was a surprising win. We didn't expect it to be bad by any stretch of the imagination, but we didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And it was kind of a happy accident that we stumbled across that thing that day. What went poorly that day, besides obviously the weather itself, was the fact that it did take 24 hours to clean up the outside areas. And unfortunately, you can see them moving construction equipment around. That closed down the water park and the surrounding area, but it also closed down the outdoor area and the spa.
So I didn't get, on my actual spa day, I didn't get to experience the outdoor showers, the whirlpools, the garden.
Like it's such a unique spa experience that this is coupled to it.
And I was devastated. I was already feeling sad that the weather was just so horrible that day. Anyway, but I will say the spa staff, they saw me being very sad, and I was like, is there any way, when the weather's better this week, I could come back and just experience the outdoor spa just to see what it's like? I don't know when I'll ever be back here. And they were like, of course, just call us and let us know, and we'll make sure. And I did go back.
And you got to spend more time there than I did.
Almost had it to myself for like 15-20 minutes. Like I was literally doing laps in this gigantic hot tub. So I'm glad I went back. The spa, it's even just for those aromatherapy towels that they had. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So don't worry, I still got my full spa experience. It was just a bit piecemeal.
Yeah, didn't come as one package, but it did get done.
That's why we eat before we do live streams. Because then we look at pictures of our own food and we're like, oh no.
Yep.
I want it. I still want it down there.
I mean, yeah, I'd go back.
I had frozen pizza for dinner today.
Yeah, pick up the pace. We're only on Tuesday.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. This is a big trip. This is why we're not talking about Disneyland.
Yeah, we're breaking it up. So Tuesday, what we did, actually, this is kind of a short day anyway. Yeah. So Tuesday, what we did was live stream with you all. Yep. So that was our first ever time live streaming from a location as opposed to being at our home. So hopefully that went well for everyone who joined. I know it wasn't a huge audience, but it was fun to talk to everyone who showed. Hey, welcome.
Thanks. No worries, we're still.
And you did exactly the right emoji.
Yes. Sugar.
So this was also the day we met Olu which I mark as kind of a high point because these are Duffy characters are exclusive to Aulani and Tokyo Disneyland. So we're close enough actually to Japan that everything you see in signage around the resort is posted in both English and Japanese, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Not that I read
definitely
Japanese.
Definitely ran into a lot of Japanese tourists there.
We got all 3 out of 3 characters that are from the Duffyverse. Olu, Duffy himself, and Shelly Mae the bear were all 3 rare characters that pop up at Aulani from the Duffy and Friends line. And Olu was a big hit with us because Olu was actually created specifically for Aulani to be the brand ambassador there. So we were super jazzed to meet him. But then, yeah, we jumped on the live stream. We did a quick tour. And that video, while it has been copyright claimed by Disney and is sharing ad revenue, it is on our channel for you guys to watch anytime, whenever you would like. But that is the closest we did to a resort tour because we did walk around as much as we could, show off some merch, show off the outside. And yeah, that took a lot of time.
The outdoor areas did open up in time.
Just in time.
But so like some pools were open, outdoor areas were open, but the lazy river still was closed. And Rainbow Reef finally opened up, so I finally got to go into Rainbow Reef.
Yep. And we haven't done a ton of talking about the outdoor areas either, but we'll get there. So this hot tub area. Sorry for that one guy in the background.
You can't even notice him until you point him out.
How gonna not point him out? It's like a screensaver and then Dave.
Well, you could have photoshopped him out if it bothers you that badly.
So we did spend a lot of time in all the hot tubs are infinity pools, but this was the one hot tub that was adults only. So we spent a lot more time in this one, and you have a beautiful view of the beach, as you can see behind us, kind of. And as Katie said, the hot tubs, the main pools, Rainbow Reef, and I believe
some of the water slides
Menehune kitty slide or kitty area.
The Menehune Bridge slide.
Menehune Bridge, that opened up. Everything but the lazy river was reopened by this day.
Yeah.
So after we got off the live stream,
by the afternoon, like it literally was noon. It was like noon, 1 o'clock, because we knew our live stream was going up around 2:30, and I was like, it better be open because we can't just walk the halls the whole time. That would be so boring. And it did. It opened.
Yeah. So
we got in the pool.
This whole expanse was finally back to normal, save for the lazy river, which was, of course, our favorite part, the 900-foot lazy river. And it's one of our favorite things about Aulani. And we will be releasing an entire video on exclusively the outdoor areas. Waikolohe Isle is the whole park. But now we're not very good with Hawaiian words, despite being there for like.
It's all phonetic, but there's a lot of syllables, and I struggle.
We did this, I think, in reverse order.
So what went well?
No, what went well? Yeah, what went well? So what went well was that all the pools reopened. We got to spend a lot of time in them, despite not being able to join the lazy river just yet.
And we got to meet all of them.
And what went poorly was just the fact that the cleanup continued through half the day.
It was like half the day was still cleanup. But then we finally got half.
There again, we're nitpicking a little bit because we did get half a day of no issues.
For the most part, we struggled to come up with what went poorly this week. It was honestly so amazing.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the fact that literally the outdoors was closed for a day and a half. It's just the thing that happened.
And again, we're not being critical of Disney or any of the staff. Like, there's literally just like, it sucks that the weather was what it was.
Yeah.
So
it happened. We acknowledged it. We moved on and had a great week afterwards.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to do the dance.
Okay, so Wednesday was when everything turned around for us. We did go on an incredible helicopter tour for the first time ever for either of us. And because it was our first time ever in a helicopter, we of course said, let's, have the doors off so we can fall right out. Okay.
No.
But I mean, it is intimidating if you've never been. It's
required.
Literally it, like seatbelts. That's all that's holding you in the helicopter.
I mean, if you've been in like a Jeep with no doors,
it's a little different.
I honestly think the Jeep is worse.
8,000 feet off the ground is a little different from being about 4 feet off the ground.
I wasn't really that scared about the doors being off.
I'm not either. I'm just telling
honestly, I feel like with my mild claustrophobia, the doors being on would have been worse for me because I would have been like, I'm in this.
Oh, I missed this one. What went poorly was we weren't joined by all our friends.
We weren't all there with you. Aw, we would have a party in Aulani.
We would.
It would be amazing.
So the tour we booked with Rainbow Helicopters was the service we booked with, and it was expensive, and I don't even want to say how expensive, to be honest, because
although in talking to some other people,
it'll make us seem
it
spoiled.
sounds like it wasn't like a ridiculous price based on what we've heard from other people.
When you rent a helicopter, and it's a private helicopter, although we did have one other person in it, so 4 total including the pilot. When you rent a slot on a helicopter, you are effectively paying for the fuel that it takes to get you off the ground. And airline fuel of any kind does not come cheap.
Like the insurance and stuff too. And
yeah.
Like
so
things that go in there.
It costs a lot to get a bird off the ground, and you are paying that price and divvying it up amongst your other passengers.
And I will say, I was thinking about this. We technically could have paid to have it just ourselves and not a single rider, but honestly, I kind of think that it was better balanced with 4 people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would have been as good. But anyway, that's our friend person, the back of her head.
Yeah.
She was a good ride along.
We have posted an Instagram reel about this experience, but we've not yet posted the vlog. The vlog is going to be cray. Actually, LW Ariel. And guys, by the way, follow LW Ariel on Instagram and YouTube because their drone shows are pretty amazing and spectacular. This is going to be your video when we release this. Yeah. This is by far the prettiest vlog I think we shot.
It's the only time that we can touch what they do with the drone because we were basically a giant drone.
We were the drone and we were being piloted, so we didn't have to think about it.
We were a gigantic drone.
But it was truly an incredible experience. Again, we probably wouldn't do it again unless something drastic changes about Oahu, like if we have active volcanoes going off and they want to fly us around. But this is probably like a one-time experience that is worth doing and worth splurging on. And we will be talking all about what we experienced, showing off the highlights and video and whatnot in a vlog. Yeah. I think not this week, but the following week.
Yeah.
So it's coming. Yeah. But highly recommend. There was also a waterfall that could only be accessed by helicopter because of how tall it
was gorgeous. The air was still, the sun was shining. Our pilot was like, it is a great day to fly a helicopter. We're going to have an awesome time. So just like for all like the crap we went through the previous 2 days, we just were like, we really wanted to take this helicopter ride. And the fact that we could, and it was gorgeous.
This was also the day that we did the Aulani luau, which I want to be very clear about this because I don't want anyone going in with the assumption that they can book it 60 days out, as I had said about the previous dining reservations. This is not a dining reservation. This is an experience package. It's not even run by Disney. It's actually an outside company that comes in, a native Hawaiian company that organizes, that brings in all the native Hawaiian dancers, that basically puts food on the tables. Everything is handled third party. And this experience only, you have to book minimum 6 months out. Like I booked our December luau in, I think, June.
And you tried to book it earlier.
I did. The minute the window opened, I grabbed it because I wasn't sure that we were going to get it.
Didn't you have to call to book it too?
I did. Yep.
You weren't able to do it online.
I was not able to do it online. I tried to, and it bounced me out, and so I had to call, and they said,
my gosh.
Yeah, that was an experience.
It's
3 hours.
It's dinner, it's drinks, it's crafts. It's a wonderful show. And there was like a show, and then there was like all this pre-show. Like, I don't even know. They basically they came around at some point and were like, last call for drinks and food before the show starts. And we're like, the show
hasn't started?
Like, we
had an amazing pre-show.
There was like a 45-minute long, like, here's a clear narrative driven kind of show. But like before that, I mean, there was dancing, and there was a band playing, all of this. It's just phenomenal. Very eye-opening at points. They don't, sugarcoat the story of
what went wrong,
what happened to Hawaii, and they even talk about like the history of the land you're sitting on right now, which makes you pause for a minute and go, wow, I'm taken aback right now.
Yeah.
So like, but definitely it had like definitely Disney touches and stuff. Oh, the food was 100. This was my favorite meal I had, but like besides the ma'ama, which was just this is a different level, hard to compare. But the luau food was so good, especially, and this was a buffet that was brought out from who knows where and set up outside. It stayed hot. It tasted fresh. The fried mahi fish, and I don't mean ahi, I mean like the Hawaiian dolphin fish, not dry at all. We're talking ube potatoes, like the purple potato.
And poi.
There was poi. We
learned how to make poi.
We did learn how to make poi. There was the desserts were amazing.
You can go to Hawaii. All you have to do is book a ticket.
So, Kaua'a, luau, and there's other luau's you can do, on the at other resorts. There's one at the cultural center, literally walking distance away.
No, that's not the cultural center.
Oh,
that's a different.
Well, there's one.
There's one that is walking distance.
There's one
and then there's one at the cultural center near Honolulu.
Yeah. And I talked to some other people who were not staying at Aulani. That's the other thing. People come to Aulani for this luau who are not staying there. They're at other resorts. They may drive 30 minutes to get here for this luau. And I talked to some other people, and they're like, I've never been to one like this. This is the best one I've ever been to.
Yeah.
So, and the great news is we could eat and drink however much we wanted and then stumble up blindly to our room without having to go anywhere.
And you want to know what the even greater news is? I was very unclear on what the rules were going to be, and I was just going to play the hand I was dealt, but we were allowed to film everything.
There were no
So there will be a whole vlog that is just this, and it will, in our typical Tim and Katie style, it's not going to be the whole show. It's going to be highlights so you can get a snapshot. You are going to have to go see the show for yourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair because it's an incredible show and these performers do deserve your respect. And you, as the audience, deserve to eat that food.
Yeah.
But it will be an incredible vlog.
We did some like pre-show things, and it will be all in the vlog, but like you may have noticed like the little like tattoos on our arms and stuff like that. They were not real tattoos, even though I think we pulled them off really well.
But they might be someday.
It made me think about like, hey, maybe something does belong on my arm there. But
I don't know if we're cool enough to have Hawaiian tattoos yet.
No. I am not going to put a Hawaiian tattoo on my arm. That is not what I'm about. I meant something. No. We're not going to go down that road. I'm not putting a Hawaiian tattoo on my arm. Maybe a stitch. Don't Anyway, I could do a whole live stream on the luau. We have a vlog coming up about it, and I know we're running kind of long on our week already, but the luau was not to be missed. One of the best meals I had. Entertainment, top notch. The people who run it, who are not cast members, again, there are cast members involved, but the people who otherwise run the luau, not cast members. Very, very nice. They did like a little meet and greet at the end.
Yeah. And you do kind of have to, at that meet and greet, like, since we're telling you it's coming, if you ever do this, beware that it will go fast. So you have to pick and choose which people you want to meet, which performers and whatnot. We got to meet, 2 or 3 of them before they moved on, but
and take some pictures.
It was worth it.
They had so many, I don't want to use the word costume necessarily, but I can't think of anything else. They had so many
set pieces,
outfit changes that really showed off like the different
here,
so many. This is like one of like 8 outfits that they had on minimum. And I will say, like, one of the things I appreciated so much about kind of just Hawaiian and Polynesian culture in general is those real strong, manly men looking just absolute beasts in like grass skirts and flowers in their hair. I'm not kidding. It was so cool. I was like, why does America suck? But anyway, very, very cool. I'm sure other luau's provide a similar experience, but we're just really grateful we did get to go to this one.
This was also the event where we met our honeymoon friends, Sam and Dan. And if you're at any point, if you're watching this live stream, it was lovely to meet you both. We wound up sitting at opposite tables, but we had a long time in line waiting to access the luau area where we spent a lot of time talking.
They had spent, I think, 2 weeks in Hawaii
their honeymoon. Well, they did a mini moon in Walt Disney World and then did Hawaii for 2 weeks, and we overlapped in a lot of activities and got to talk about it a lot. So. The people you meet on vacation.
You do get the kukui nuts. So I bought these because they're painted, but you do get the
part
of
brown, the experience.
Kukui nuts.
They do put the beads on you
as part of your luau experience. So it's kind of funny, like the next day you see like a bunch of people walking around wearing their kukui nuts and you're like, yeah, we did the luau.
You're like, I know you.
I bought these for the luau because I was like, I want a lei. I just want a lei. And then they gave out a lei and I was like,
now you have 2.
Now I have 2.
So there was a lot, obviously, that went well on this day. This was one of our favorite days across the whole event. And what I have down for this what went well slide is basically just the luau. The helicopter experience, I do not want to understate what an incredible experience that was, but like of everything we experienced that day, I would say the luau was like that much more incredible.
It was,
and more memorable. I think.
Was emotionally invested in this luau. Yeah. I will say that by the end of it.
It
feels very personal.
It won't be the same experience, and it won't be quite as vivid probably and vibrant as the Hawaii waters, but you can do a helicopter experience elsewhere. Yeah. You can do that on the mainland, as they call it.
But a luau
is something, if done well, is only properly done in Hawaii. What went poorly? All right, so we touched on the food a lot.
The food. This did not go poorly for me.
No, it went poorly for me. The food was incredible. And before anyone gets ahead of me, it's not what you think. The food was incredible, and it was buffet style. So you could go up and get plate after plate after plate. And so I, being the, value-oriented individual that I am, I'm like, if I eat 2 plates of food, that's all this size. This is a picture of my plate, by the way. This is 1 plate. I got another plate, and then I got a dessert plate. So 3 plates total of food from this luau. No one stopped me, which was fantastic because I was not to be stopped. But I consumed pretty much everything that was in front of me, and not pictured, because I didn't have a good shot of it, was this amazing beverage called a Hawaiian Sunrise, which they made themselves. You could not taste any alcohol in it, but there was alcohol in it.
But there it was.
I had 3!
Yeah.
So what happened
You can tell this is not run by Disney because drinks
were
bottomless.
Giving stuff away.
And so was food.
Yeah. It's all figured into the price tag. So, and the price tag wasn't bad either. It was less than a ma.
No.
But
for endless food, drinks, and the quality entertainment, it was worth every penny.
The amount of food and alcohol I consumed without even thinking about it, because I was so immersed in what we were seeing on stage and like all the performances and a little bit in like trying to get good shots and whatnot, because I was vlogging it. I was just constantly eating and eating and eating. And you do have to watch out for that, because the following day, I guess technically the following morning.
The luau lasted until like 8 or something.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour show.
We go to bed at 9 in Hawaii because that's what our bodies were had learned to do.
And at 4:00 in the morning, Honolulu time, I wake up feeling awful, like genuinely ill. And the reason being is because I ate and drank enough off of that endless buffet to just get like mad acid reflux. And I don't really get acid reflux. So that was a kind of a new experience for me. And
he got horribly sick.
Yeah, I was like, I cannot believe I'm going to be sick on vacation again. How does this keep happening to me? Then I took 2 Tums, went back to sleep for 3 hours, and woke up feeling fine. Yeah. But you do have to kind of, like, no one's going to stop you from eating too much at this particular event. So get your value out of it, but don't perhaps go as crazy as I did. And watch those Hawaiian sunrises too, because they are delicious, but you got to pace yourself and hydrate a little bit. And I did neither of those things. That was, again, we're nitpicking to find things that went wrong, but that was one thing that was particularly memorable that I was the problem.
Wednesday was perfect. Nothing went wrong for me that day. I didn't.
100% can't go wrong with buffets.
Except for Tim, who went wrong apparently.
I mean,
it broke bad.
I mean, you can go wrong at buffets. The buffets, you cannot be wrong by the buffets if you do not do the wrong.
Anyway.
All right, Thursday. Thursday was another beautiful day in Hawaii, and fortunately was the day that we went out on our Kualoa Ranch tour. You're wearing this t-shirt.
I am. Jurassic Valley.
Kualoa is a major filming location in Hawaii. Things like Jurassic Park, Jumanji, and Journey to the Mysterious Island were all shot there.
Also, things like 51st Dates.
Yeah. Like
things like that. Over 150 movies, they said.
Okay. Well, I was going to say dozens of movies, but apparently it's 150.
That's what
so
Kiaka said, over 150 movies.
You can buy UTV tours here. You can buy bus tours, which I believe the trackers just did. Horseback riding,
bikes,
zip lining,
boats. They do a boat tour.
Yeah, pretty much every kind of tour except helicopter. And as it happens, our helicopter dipped us into the Jurassic Valley on our tour, so that worked out.
Flew over it.
We chose to do the UTV tour, and the reason we chose to do this tour is because we booked the second longest tour, which was 2 hours, and the point of the tour was to get a little bit of everything, the most beautiful sights on the property, because it's an expanse. It's Kualoa Ranch, which is very expansive.
It's a conservation reservation. Like the land is protected.
Yeah.
They cannot build on it. Well, the people who own the ranch don't want to, but people cannot build on it. It's protected. They have animals there. It's meant to.
Did we see any dinos?
We saw some dinos.
We did see some dinos.
They'll be in the vlog.
They will be in the vlog.
I pretended to be a dino at some point.
In terms of the experience we booked, it's a 2-hour guided tour, but if you are 21 and over, you can drive your own vehicle. So that's what we did. Mm-hmm. We basically swapped back and forth between myself and Katie.
Yeah. Someone was GoProing and catching real stuff.
So we get a little bit of everything. They do tell you to wear clothes that can get muddy.
Or dusty.
Well, they told us muddy. Yeah. So we wore clothes we didn't care about. But on the day of, obviously, despite the rain that came through a couple days prior, it was beautiful and there was no mud to be found. So what we got instead was speckles of dust from the UTV in front of us.
It was dusty.
So they do give you these neck gaiters to keep your face relatively clean. And you do get a little bit of dirt anyway.
You do wear them. Like when we get to the dust, every single person on the tour had them up, and they actually say either bring sunglasses or we will give you goggles because the dust will fly in your eyes too. So we had our sunglasses on.
This picture was taken by our tour guide Kiaka, who did a phenomenal job. I don't know how he did it, to be honest, because there were hundreds of people there. Not all from our tour either. It's a bus parked and our UTVs parked and a bike tour parked.
This was a popular photo spot.
This is everyone merging kind of 3 tours together, and then we all broke off again. But there were tons of people around us, and this mastermind got a pano of us there with the Jurassic Valley behind us, looking like we're the only ones there. It's a phenomenal experience, guys. It's almost too real. It's too vivid and vibrant for your eyes to believe and process what you're seeing. And the pictures do not do it justice in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's large.
Our vlog might do slightly better, but it's not going to be the same as being there. So if this is the only thing you do in Hawaii, this and maybe the luau. I would say it's a toss-up between those two.
You definitely have to check out Kualoa.
Yeah, it's you cannot pass. It's about, so we did have to, and we didn't really talk about this either, for the helicopter tour and the Kualoa Ranch. They're both a good distance away from Aulani. We did have to rent a car from Aulani to get there, which you can do, like straight up
there's an
Enterprise Alamo counter at Aulani, and they have cars in the garage. So you can literally just take the car from Aulani and drive and return it to Aulani by a way of valet. You just give them the keys and say you're returning a rental. So you can rent for 1 day, 2 day. We wound up renting for 3 because the desk closed a little early and we couldn't drop it off any other time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was totally worth it. And it wasn't expensive to rent the car. I would say it was even less expensive to book this UTV tour. So you got to do it. At the end of the day, you got to do it.
Yeah.
After the UTV tour, which, by the way, will also be its own vlog, and combined with this, we did go to the Waiahole Poi Factory at the recommendation of our guides, who said this is the best place to get traditional, genuine Hawaiian food. Mm-hmm. So if you're not familiar, a lot of stuff in Hawaii is made with poi, which is kind of like, it's the taro root. It's like tofu in that it takes on the taste of whatever it's being mixed with, but it's tasty.
Okay. I don't want to say it's like tofu. If you know anything, taro root, it's like a big, like, I don't know. I would say more like a rutabaga or something. And then they take it and they mush it down. And since they do make some sort of paste out of it, and it is very like plain tasting. Like it tastes like to me every time I taste it, I'm like, I need some like just a little bit of salt or something. But it
mixes together with things.
But it does. It's traditional. We had some at the luau. We helped make some. That was not consumed. It was just for show.
We started making it, then they said, "Yeah, you're gonna want to stop because it takes 2.5 hours to bring it to actual paste, like to use."
Yeah, paste consistency. But anyway, the Waiahole Poi Factory is this little hole in the wall place. Obviously, it doesn't look any more impressive than it did in that picture.
It literally is like a shack
really hard
in the middle
to park.
Of nowhere. Hold on, real quick. Gamified is dropping off. Thanks, guys, for joining.
Oh, thank you for sticking around as long as you could. I know we're going off for a long time.
We're getting close.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So yeah, as Katie was saying, this place is like a hole in the wall in like the middle of nowhere as you're driving to Kualoa.
But it was busy.
But it's very popular for being as small and as
and people were like getting their food and like taking their like Instagram photos in front of it. So it's got a reputation for being reliable.
Yeah.
And we got like a platter that we could share, and the dessert that we ate right there because it was ice cream,
melting,
which is what.
But it was ice cream with the base of poi. Like everything at the poi factory uses poi as a base.
It was the coconut pudding ice cream, which was delicious. Like think about like coconut Dole Whip, but even better. Like even more coconut, even more creamy. That was that ice cream. With this like sweetened poi on top that kind of gave it like this, I don't know, it was kind of like eating a cobbler sort of. It was like this warm, gooey stuff with the coconut ice cream. It was called the Lady of Waiahole. I think it was the Lady of Waiahole. That's it. Lady of Waiahole dessert. So we ate that like in front of our car because it was gonna melt, and then we took the rest back to the resort and ate it.
And we did vlog that piece of it too. We didn't vlog eating the rest at the room later because we were tired, but we did vlog like up to this point.
Less than 10 minutes away from Kualoa.
Yeah. So it's right on the way. So if you're hungry and you don't stop there, you're wasting an authentic Hawaiian opportunity.
Yeah.
It's basically what we're getting at.
Yes.
Now I think yes. The only other thing we did on this day, and we're starting at this point to wrap up the trip, so we're trying to squeeze in the fun things at the resort while we can too. We did go back to Makahiki for dinner, and it's not a character meal; it's a set menu. So we did vlog this as well as an isolated experience, just so you can kind of see what the difference is between character breakfast and dinner there. And this is, I believe, this is the ahi tuna. Or
well, ahi it's seared ahi or seared tuna, which was not their menu had like a catch of the day. So the waiter went through their specials or whatever, and they said the catch of the day was ahi. And he's like, we serve it, we say serve it medium rare or whatever. And I just clarified with him. I was like, so you mean like seared? Like it's definitely pink in the middle because I don't want this can of tuna nonsense. And he's like, oh yeah. So that's how it came. So if you're not a sushi person, you're not a seared tuna person, not for you. But this was delicious. And the vlog, my first bite, I think I ate like from the end, and I was like, oh no, it's overcooked. But then it wasn't. It had this bok choy.
Never give a complete reaction on your first bite.
I needed
sometimes it takes a little to get into the.
And it had this quinoa with it, or was it quinoa? No, it was couscous. It was couscous and this red pepper sauce, and it was very good.
And I also had food. I don't remember what it was though.
I don't remember what you had either. Did you have?
I didn't take a picture of mine, so I don't know.
Steak? You had steak.
I did. Ah, you're right. I did. I had the legendary ribeye of the makahiki
with the dark special barbecue sauce.
That was good.
Yeah.
We'll cover all of this in the vlog.
It's in a vlog.
It was not quite as much of an experiential highlight as some of the other meals we had, but it was like everything else we ate the entire week. It was amazing. I think Hawaii just does food better than any other state. The
guy who was the manager for like makahiki was going around and checking in on everyone, and we had a really long conversation with him actually about our stay, and he was very, very nice. So we really enjoyed that. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Was it better than the Mickey shaved ice?
Yes.
The Mickey shaved ice was good.
Yeah, Mickey shaved ice is good, and that's very Hawaiian too. But I'm a coconut nut. So give me creamy coconut on top with like a warm, sticky pudding-like substance. I was in heaven.
Yeah. So lots of good food in Aulani. And across all of Hawaii, really.
So much food.
What went well?
The tour went swimmingly.
The tour was probably like we couldn't have asked for a better tour.
Yeah.
And I think there is enough there that we would definitely go back and do a different tour to see, because we didn't see everything, but we did see a lot, and a lot was like that is a picture that I took on my phone, guys. Yeah. That's an incredible shot that I put no effort into. That's how beautiful it was on that day.
And we did sneak. That is Kiaka, our tour guide. He did not want to be in too many photos, so we have managed to sneak that one in. But he was delightful, and so was his partner, tour guide partner, Nui.
Yeah.
Just two really cool dudes.
And fun fact, nothing went poorly that day.
No, everything was fine.
So there was nothing there.
Nothing to even think about.
I know we've been running on for a while because there's just so much to talk about, and we loved everything about this trip. But we are wrapping it up here, guys. Friday is going to be an entire vlog that is just that day. So we will talk about it a little bit. We're also going to save some surprises for the vlog itself.
So our last full day.
So our last day, our two goals were to meet characters, as many as possible, soak up that photo pass, because we did pay $78 for a week-long photo pass at Aulani. So we wanted to and we did get value out of it, believe you me. We wanted to meet characters, so we called Tune Finder first thing and identified where they were going to post all day. And then we wanted to do the Menehune Trail, which is an interactive rolling around the resort with an iPad that you check out from guest services in the little community hall. And you basically interact with different animatronics, pieces, effects all over that you wouldn't even know were there.
And
unless you
I say this in the vlog, and I don't want to repeat too much stuff that's coming out in the vlog, but this felt like that Disney Imagineering. That
little bit of Disney magic.
Yeah, it really did. Like I would say don't skip out on it, even if you're like two adults like us. They do not bat an eye at two adults coming to pick up one of those iPads, and you can pick it up, you can drop it off, you can pick it back up again after lunch. Like they don't care. They're all about you completing the hunt. Yep.
So that we don't have any pictures of that because that was kind of an interactive experience that required us to be present and much better captured on video. So that will be coming in our final Aulani vlog from this trip. But we did, as you can see, we did meet up with the main mouse. We also spent a great deal of time in that lazy river because we knew it was our last pool day and we wanted to get the most out of it. It's a 900-foot lazy river. It has a couple of different kind of more intense waterfall rapids areas. So it's, you know, it's something for everyone. And a lot of people would say, I think, that the lazy river is the best part of the resort. But we also, I think you went to Rainbow Reef one more time. Too.
I did. I did do the 4-day, not 4-day, your length of stay Rainbow Reef. So I wanted to do it more, but it was raining and closed. But I did go at least 4 times into Rainbow Reef, which was really fun.
I can't tell you what this is, we
participated in
something,
other resort activities that were offered throughout the day.
Somebody, I think it was Tim that asked.
Yes. Did you find Hey? Because Moana was asking us about Hey during the live stream.
She was.
Yep.
Did we find Hey? Well, there's Hey. I can't find Tim's comment now.
I remember it came through. Yep. So he just put another comment. You found.
Oh, yeah. That'll work. We did find Hey. So there's a lot to cover in our final day vlog, and not all of it is something we expected to do. Yep. I will say that. So this was from an activity that was not a premium activity, no extra charge, just open to any resort guests who happen to walk up.
Yep.
And
that's all we'll say.
We found Hey. Then we had dinner at the Olelo room, which has a limited menu, but not as limited as we thought it was.
It's kind of like the lounge to Makahiki, so they will serve some similar things. Like we noticed, like some desserts were the same, some drinks were the same, but their exclusive offering is
sushi,
homemade. I won't say homemade, hand rolled. That's what I said. Hand rolled sushi. And sashimi and nigiri. It was so. Tim is not a sushi or.
I'm not as adventurous an eater as Katie is, but we did.
He did adventure some other ways. I had probably one of the best sushi rolls I've ever had in my life. The price was up there, I will say, but it was large, and I was full after like 1 sushi roll, and I think 2. Nigiri, I had some eel, which was it's basically just like a thumb of rice with whatever topping on top. It was so fresh. The rice was just so perfect. I was in heaven. I think we did vlog it.
We did. It'll be part of, and it's referenced very briefly in our Makahiki breakfast vlog this week, but it's also going to be part of the larger, like what we ate.
And we were sitting outside, and we had a view of the sunset. It was gorgeous. There was magical. A ukulele player.
But to Tim's point of love all the wooden carvings, so Olelo, which is called the Olelo room again, Olelo in Hawaiian means to say. So you can't see it super well in this image, but we cover it in our vlog that all of those different carvings have the Hawaiian word for that carving underneath. Yeah. And some are just like random objects like wheel or train, but a lot of them are like Tigger and Mickey and the
There's like a child's kind of bedroom feel to it in a sense because there's little things like a carving of a monkey and how to say monkey in Hawaiian. Tigger
is Kika.
Kika.
It's all like the whole experience is woven around like how to speak your favorite character, Disney words, whatever in Hawaiian, which is really cool. And it doesn't give off that vibe when you walk in. It just seems like very architecturally pleasing. But as you start to like look around and see all the words, like you find you're learning as you're eating, and it's a lot of fun.
And they do offer like some opportunities, especially if you visit like the DVC counters and stuff like that, to give you the opportunity to learn and teach you Hawaiian words, which was really cool.
It's very Epcot-y in terms of like the educational experience.
Oh yeah, definitely very educational.
I would say that the resort as a whole, and I described it this way on vacation, and I've thought it over since, and I'm still quite happy with it. It's like 50% Animal Kingdom and 50% Trader Sam's in terms of like the overall vibe?
I mean, I think maybe some Polynesian or something. We've never been to Polynesian.
I think it is Polynesian plus. Like it's
yeah. But I just mean like in terms of the theming and whatnot.
Yeah, but Trader Sam's
I get what you mean about
Polynesian
Trader Sam's and like like what's unique and magical and special about it, and definitely Animal Kingdom because of just the length of the theming.
I forgot to mention about that lazy river. It does have like sound effects as you're going through too, like the atmosphere, similar to how you're like walking through Animal Kingdom and you hear like the Pandora creatures. Like there's all of that. Yeah. It's a very Disney resort. What went well?
Everything went well on Friday. We met so many characters.
Pretty much everything about Friday was perfect.
We did activities. We had so much fun.
The only thing that went poorly was watching the sunset and knowing that it was our last day.
We had to keep telling everyone it's our last day, it's our last day.
Yeah, people, they will constantly ask you how many more days are you here, and on your last day, it's the saddest thing you'll ever have to say over and over.
It's our last day.
When it comes to Saturday, this is Christmas Eve.
Yep.
So we flew on Christmas Day, and we're not going to cover anything past today in this live stream. We are going to come back and talk about our Disneyland experience, our California experience, and our Christmas Day travel experience in a follow-up live stream. But we wanted to give some room to Hawaii because we've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes, and we're still not quite done, but we're close. Saturday was our checkout day. Now, we didn't book Platinum Limousines on our way out. We booked with a secondary company that our friend Zoe had recommended to us from Wishing Mouse. This is not their truck, their van or whatever.
Similar to the...
It's similar make. I had a hard time finding...
It was like a 15-passenger van, and we were like, we're your only pickup? He's like, yep.
Yeah.
So we got in.
So, I mean, we made the most of the resource for sure. The company is Top Limousine, and they are rated very highly in Honolulu. And it was a lovely trip back to the airport, save for the fact that we were leaving paradise. But the two people that own it are a married couple named Scott and May, and I did a lot of conversing.
You were on the phone with Scott.
I did a lot of conversing back and forth with them to plan the trip and like make sure like you guys are okay picking up on Christmas Eve. Yeah, they do holidays every day of the year, and the rates are very favorable. The only reason we did not use them more is because they are not based in Honolulu. So the airport transfer was relatively affordable because it's such a frequented connection that they just have a special rate for it. But, sorry, I just choked on myself. But going from Aulani to anywhere else, they would have to come from a Honolulu area, which can be up to an hour away, charge you for all the mileage to get out there, charge you for wherever you're going, and then have to charge you for the gas.
Which is why we ended up renting a car instead of getting a driver to go.
It just wound up being cheaper.
So.
But Top Limo did us right, and they took care of us, and they were very friendly. And I actually owe them a review.
I was about to.
I'm behind on all the Yelp reviews.
I actually owe them money. I was like, you do not.
No, we do not. We don't owe anyone money. We've paid off the trip to some extent.
We owe our credit card.
But Top Limo, I think we do owe a review to. And in terms of like the experience, if you guys want to book a friendly family-owned company to get you from A to B that's relatively affordable, especially in the Honolulu area versus Aulani specifically, this is the one, probably. Yeah. Top Limo.
What you don't, so when you, something that we didn't say, like Tim showed that picture of like the mountains, is like, this is what it looked like when we landed. Well, Honolulu is a city.
Yeah.
It does.
It's not the island.
It feels very, it does feel kind of overdeveloped, and I think locals would probably agree. And I was very grateful that our resort was not there. Aulani was flanked by a Four Seasons and like a Marriott hotel, but still felt very quiet. And even like our first driver from the Platinum Limousines was like, this is a great area. It's quiet. It feels much more, it's a lot less, it's still touristy, but less developed like Honolulu was.
Something that we were going back and forth on during our on-property live stream, and I later did some homework on and figured out. Koalina is a resort community. So it's a gated access for resort guests only that includes Aulani and Four Seasons and the Marriott and a couple other resorts, as well as anyone who's renting like Airbnbs there,
vacation home or
vacation
something.
homes. Yeah. So it's very, very quiet. And the surrounding area is the township of Kapolei, which is why when you go to Google Maps, you see Kapolei as the location of Disney's Aulani Resort. That area, even as you leave that Koalina nest egg where the resorts are all spread out, and you enter Kapolei proper, you will see it's a little bit more industrial. It's not a lot. It's not Honolulu, but it's more, it's more like construction and, there's a water
park. And that's why you got to go see Kualoa Ranch, because that's what Hawaii's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. So leaving Aulani, we did feel ourselves kind of descending back into that industrial side of things, and where it was a little bit sad. But the ride itself and the company that we worked with was fantastic and highly recommend them. We transferred to the Best Western Plaza Hotel, which does have mixed reviews on TripAdvisor, Google, and all that. It's not the Four Seasons by any stretch of the imagination, but it served us pretty well. They have an airport shuttle, which does run hourly even on Christmas Day, which is part of why we were staying there. Having done all of this again, we probably would have stayed at Aulani a second day, or that last day.
And just taken an airport.
Because we were expecting traffic and we were worried about getting on a flight on time on Christmas Day. We didn't want to risk it. But now that we know what to expect, if we were to do this again, we would just stay at Aulani. Because it took no time at all to get to the airport from Aulani. It took about half an hour where we were expecting an hour and a half. So, having said that, though, there was one nice thing about the Best Western. This is not our room. This is
But it's very similar.
This is pretty much identical to what we walked in on.
It was comfortable enough.
Yeah, it was very comfortable, and this is the view out of our window. The reviews of the Best Western near the airport will tell you that it's very noisy because you are right next to the freeway, and it's not untrue because that is freeway.
It was definitely louder than Aulani. I did not sleep as well here as I did at Aulani, but that's okay.
I will say I slept like a baby because our apartment is quite near a freeway as well.
Yeah, but even our apartment
so it wasn't
that bad.
Well, you were also hearing planes. Like you're literally like you could
what
throw
I
a
was
rocket
hearing
at the airport.
Was trucks and other cars laying on their horns on the freeway, which reminded me of my days in Baltimore City.
I didn't hear any of that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
I would say I will say if you need a place to be close to the airport, either you're flying in late or something, it's fine. I would not book your vacation for this hotel.
Yeah.
I don't think it's meant. I don't think it pretends to be.
I don't see anyone booking a week at this hotel.
I don't think it pretends to be that kind of offer.
It's just convenient.
It's a convenient, close to the airport hotel. And it served us well, but I definitely was bitterly missing Aulani at this point.
It was hard to come down from the Aulani vibe to the airport vibe, but we only stayed here for a night. And what I'm kind of trying to build to is that we did stumble across a hidden gem as a result of being in this hotel, because it was like a couple blocks away and it was one of the recommended eating areas. These people, this is a family-owned restaurant, clearly. And they welcomed us with open arms on Christmas Eve for dinner, in the same way that like the Aulani folk did. I was wearing my Pokeball hat, which I've worn in a couple of vlogs, and apparently
whole conversation about Pokemon.
Apparently 3 or 4 of the waitresses all play Pokemon Go together, and so we had it was a lot of fun to walk in and be like, my people. But they also, for seemingly no reason at all, offered us some complimentary things because we ordered
a pizza and
we
a
got
drink.
We got
their
specialty garlic knot cheese bread,
ball bread things that were so good,
and ube ice cream samples.
Yeah, a little sample of ube ice cream, which was delicious.
If you guys fly into Honolulu Airport and at no point you wander up on Big Kahuna, which it's got to be less than a mile from the airport, because it was in
this like airport. What would you call it? It was kind of like the shopping center that was literally called like Airport Drive or something like that, because it was so close.
Yeah.
And there were other restaurants and businesses along there, but and this is after we have already had like so much like pizza and flatbread, and we were like, yeah, let's go in for one more Kualoa pork flatbread, because who knows the next time we're gonna have it.
But it was so good too. Good. Like it wasn't
and I think
even
we did half Kualoa pork and half like Portuguese. It was the Portuguese sausage pizza.
Yeah,
so good.
And they were. I honestly like, even if the food had been rotten, which it was not, but even if it hadn't have been the greatest food we'd ever eaten, just the environment and like the people that were in there, and we were like one of the only dining couples in there.
It was not busy.
It wasn't empty, but it wasn't busy.
Yeah.
So, and they just showed us like the love and the welcome that you'd expect from like good friends you haven't seen in a long time. And maybe that's the standard in Hawaii. I don't know, but it's quick service or whatever. You order at the counter, you sit down. We must have been checked up on like 5 times to make sure we didn't need anything. It was so nice. It was a highlight.
And it was just really cute because I eavesdrop sometimes just because people watching is fascinating. And it was just really cute because like one of the employees was like, guys, we got eggnog back here if you want any. And obviously eggnog's not on the menu. They were just there on Christmas Eve and they wanted to like, have some, festive drink while they were working. And hopefully they weren't open on Christmas Day because,
they weren't.
I don't think they were.
There was a sign on
the door. They were
open Christmas Day.
Open Christmas Eve. So I just thought that was so sweet. And it did make the bleeding Aulani hole in my heart feel a little less bad.
And to that end, I actually flipped this last one because I wanted to focus on the positive and end on the positive note. So what went poorly is that, again,
we left that behind.
We logistically didn't know what we didn't know. And if we had to do it over again, we would stay at Aulani another night because the airport
for this time of year. Apparently, other times of year,
kids
are back in school.
It can be 2 hours getting from Aulani to the airport.
I don't know if it's 2 hours, maybe.
I read what I read.
Anyway. But if we come back over the Christmas holiday and kids are out of school and traffic is not bad, we probably don't need to hotel hop.
What went well though was our friends at Big Kahuna. That honestly, like, we were feeling a little down because we had left Aulani, and then just stumbling upon this vibe, it was like it lit us back up again. So that was a really nice little treat for Christmas Eve. And we do want to give them a big shout out. I'm sure they're not watching, but we did tag them on some Instagram posts. So if you guys are ever in Honolulu, Big Kahuna Pizza near the airport is a must. It is a must. This was the last day that we had intended to cover in this live stream, which is probably for the best because we're at almost 2 hours. But I did get some questions in response to my Instagram post that I did want to touch on really, really quick. And I answered some of them kind of, but not in completion. So the question of, were the pools crowded all the time? Did you have to be there super early to get a spot?
So to answer that question, we were never there super early because most of the days we could have gotten there super early, we were either going off and doing an excursion in the morning or they were closed because of the storm. So
they do open at 8 during peak hours, and then some of them stay open until 10, but a lot of them close between 5 and 8.
Sometimes we would show up at 11, sometimes we'd show up at 2, sometimes we'd show up at 4. Did we ever have a problem finding a seat? Sometimes we usually could find a chair, but we didn't really sit in. Like, if you want to sit in the chair and relax all day, and that's what you want to do, you might want to get there a little earlier in the day. If you just need a place to throw your stuff down and you don't really care about sitting, they actually have like a couple of little just like cubbies where you can like shove towels and stuff and not worry about finding a chair, which is what we did sometimes.
I would also say I don't think we would have had an issue finding a chair across the whole property. It was just like if we're trying to find a chair close to the Lazy River entrance or to Rainbow Reef, or like we're deliberately looking for an area.
Yeah, there was a lot of space, and I never felt like it was a Christmas holiday at Aulani. Did I feel like it was too busy? not compared to what Disneyland looked like the next week.
We'll get to Disneyland. We'll get to Disneyland. But anyway, that's our next live stream.
I would say there's definitely like a rush hour at the pools. There's a time period where it's like you can't get an inner tube for the lazy river or the slide. It was around like 1:30 to like 3:30. There'd be like this 2-hour, 1.5 hour block of there's no tubes. If you can find one, get one. Wait in a line for one, whatever. And that grotto pool that we said was a madhouse was often a madhouse, but there's like 3 other pools. The lazy river was never like
clogged.
Yeah, it was never like clogged with tubes. Yes, there'll be,
groups of 5 to 7 that try to stick together,
kids,
but
sometimes going around there. It was never that bad.
But around like 4 o'clock, it starts dropping off.
As soon as like 4 o'clock hits, people start peeling back and getting ready for dinner. And honestly, like 4 to when the pools close at 8, 10 o'clock is totally fine. So kind of like our theme park rule, get there early or get there late. If you hit it like midday, that's probably going to be your...
You can still do a midday.
Have fun.
Like you can still, if you're just...
But it also it depends on what you want to do. If you want to sit in a chair and read all day, yeah, go get the chair in your ideal favorite spot. But if you want to get in the pool and you don't really care where your chair is and you just need to throw some stuff down, you're fine. If you want to sit in the lazy river, 4 o'clock and after is a great time, or get there early and make sure you get your inner tube.
Jump right in at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right when it opens.
So
class.
Then the pools do stay open, a lot of them some till 8, some till 10.
Bearing in mind that we're in Christmas week when we're staying there, so they did specify like these are peak hours or holiday hours. Yeah. So they
But it honestly it never felt so busy that I was like, this is a horrible time to be here. And yes, the
hot tub that we spent the most time in was adults only, but there were some that were not.
It was huge and it was glorious, and there were times when it would be kind of full, but never like people hanging off the edges, packed to the brim full.
Yeah.
There was plenty of room to sit down. Honestly, the best time to get in that hot tub was sunset, because people who didn't bring sunglasses would be like, okay, I'm done. And like get out. And Tim and I were wearing our sunglasses and hats like, we're good. We're just staring right at the sun. We're good.
I would say that at no point throughout the entire week of like the Christmas holiday was this resort at any area even remotely comparable to the crowds you experience at Walt Disney World.
Oh yeah.
At the resorts at Walt Disney World, to be clear. Yeah. Like the crowd level at Aulani is just, it's harder to get to Aulani. Like people do not book trips to Aulani as frequently, or I mean it's not. I'm sure they are filled to capacity more often than not, perhaps especially over the Christmas holiday, but it never really felt like we were rubbing elbows with people in the pools.
No.
Which is something that you can't say for Walt Disney World.
There were sometimes we got in the pools and got splashed a couple times and we're like, all right, we're going to the next pool. I mean, you just move on.
That's the other thing. It's like there's not just one pool. Right. There's like 8.
Yeah.
There were so many pools.
And they're big. And if you really want space, you can go into the ocean. It's right there.
Watch out for jellyfish, though.
Right. They did have a sign to say watch out for jellyfish, but I never even saw any jellyfish. So
the other question that we received was, I thought, a good one to end on, which is, what was your favorite part? And it's going to be different for each of us.
Choosing a child.
I gave you enough time.
I can't. My favorite part of the trip. I mean, if I was gonna pick a specific like activity or something that we did, definitely the luau stands out. Maybe even above like helicopter and Kualoa. That luau was just spectacular. It was emotional. I was emotionally compromised during that luau. It was a very personal story.
I would actually say, I think I would agree with you that the luau is probably the best of it, but then like half peg down would be the helicopter tour, and half peg below that would be Kualoa.
Yeah, they're all of those were awesome, and it's just the luau felt so. I hope I don't regret saying this word, but like authentically Hawaiian. I just felt like I was very immersed in the culture. And I may regret saying that later. So, but that's
like
what
if
I
we do
like.
homework and find out that it's manufactured storytelling or whatever. No, it felt. I understand what you're saying. It felt very like.
I guess like
personal.
My favorite part of, and maybe what I'll take away is, I think just the people we interacted with, whether they were cast members, whether they worked at the ranch, or some of our drivers, just really quality good people there. Yes, I realize people work in the tourist industry, maybe they do have, they do some, kissing up and trying to make sure that their guests are comfortable and happier and everything. But really just everyone we talked to, cast members we met, characters we interacted with, it was just.
And they're all like, if you, like any cast member, really, if you talk to the cast members long enough, you get to know them a little bit and you get a little bit of their story. And a lot of them that work at Disney and Kualoa and different areas that we visited, yes, they are in the tourism industry and they have to be somewhat hospitable, whether you're deserving of hospitality or not. But they're also like, a lot of them work in the industry or with Disney or with the Luau team because it's what they love doing, and they love interacting with people like us that are trying to like learn and appreciate what they're about. And they all have such incredible backstories. We've talked to so many people over this trip that are just like, it's crazy where they started versus where they wound up and what drew them to the Aulani Resort or Kualoa or Rainbow Helicopters. Like, everyone just across the entire experience, I think we don't have a bad thing to say about a single person we interacted with.
Yeah.
Trip-wide.
Yeah. It's just like, I was just so grateful to be there and to be experiencing
I do want to say something about this, because we took note of this as we were looking up at those same rooms. And just so you're aware, before you do that, the luau does not just happen one night, it happens multiple nights, and it goes for 3.5 hours. So if you're like to go to bed early,
I mean, it does wrap by 8, but if you're like,
it's going to be a little disruptive.
It is loud.
It's loud. It's very loud. And people, we've also read reviews from people who did that by accident and weren't totally thrilled by how long the luau went on and how much it permeated the walls of their room, because there's it's just a window. It's not like soundproofing between rooms. If you're on the opposite side, as we were, from the luau and where it takes place on the lawn, the building itself forms a massive sound wall to protect. We couldn't hear a thing.
We could hear the live musician at Olelo all the time because that was right outside.
But that cuts at a hard 9 o'clock.
So. What did I miss? Nice try, Chad.
No worries. We'll just roll you back through the last 2 hours.
Oh, it's Vanessa's Aquarian?
No. Chad?
It's Chad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Vanessa has her own name. Yeah. Sorry, getting confused with our friends tripping us up over there.
All right, we've been yammering long enough. I'm surprised how many people stuck it out. To be honest, we love you all.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like, all of this has been like educational in some regard. We had an amazing trip to Hawaii, and you will continue seeing those vlogs, by the way, for a extended period of time, because we are trying to like gradually leak them out so that every vlog is the best it can be.
You will still see
holiday
some Christmas
vlogs
stuff
in February and March.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything like there's like one thing that's kind of like Christmas specific, but it was wrapped into a vlog that otherwise is not very Christmas. Yeah. But you'll see like characters in their Santa hats and stuff like that. And maybe me.
And by the time anyone thinks about trying to go to Aulani the next time, it will be, they'll be thinking about Christmas.
Yeah.
Because of
I will say, you may have been in, Hawaii in paradise, but they definitely let you know that it was Christmas time.
They did.
You did not.
When you go in again? So we have talked about this actually, because I think once you go the first time, it's really hard not to
be like,
build
when
the
are we
next
going
one out.
next time? Kind of like our first time going to Disneyland.
We So what we did this year was we have been running around between the two sides of our family at Christmas time. We don't have kids, so we're shuffled around a lot as people who can travel and who can afford to travel and are asked to be in different places for multiple different family gatherings at Christmas. And it gets a little bit stressful. Not that we don't love our families, just that it becomes overwhelming over several years of doing the same thing, just running around frantically. Yeah. We backed out this year. This was our gift to ourselves, was just taking a break and going away and being somewhere not at home for Christmas. And I think we found the experience to be so rejuvenating overall that although there were things we would do differently, we are going to do this again. So not anytime soon, but maybe 5 years from now, we're already starting to put pieces together and logistically plan out when we're going to go next. And we may not do all the same vlogs that we did this time. We may vlog completely different days. We may do completely different excursions. We might not vlog as much, but this is an experience that is necessary to repeat at great cost, but something that you just can't turn away.
I'll say, no matter how much time you spend in Hawaii, it probably won't ever feel like enough.
This week's creator spotlight as we close things out. Oh, Crystal! God, you made it.
Thanks for stopping in.
Hot Mess Magical Express is someone that we've just started engaging with. Someone who actually found us by way of our friend Sarah from Magical by Sarah. And she has an Instagram and a website. And those are mostly where she pours her attention into because her website is actually a travel agency site. She is a travel agent and you can book through her. And she is phenomenal at doing Disney work. So definitely look into her. Kilimanjaro Katie is someone that I've been following for a while, brings a lot of joy into our feed.
Like the alliteration.
As you can tell from the name, she has a Animal Kingdom emphasis. So we love Animal Kingdom and we love people who love Animal Kingdom. And there's a lot of good content coming from her page. So definitely check her out. And a recent addition to my personal feed, Magical Pinas. I believe her name is Yasmin, pronounced thusly. And she is a mom who loves the parks, and I believe she is West Coast. So she does a lot more Disneyland than Disney World. But she has Instagram, and she posts a lot of great content there. She's also a brand ambassador for several small shops. So if you're interested at all in Disney wardrobe, she can get you a good discount. Definitely check all of these lovely creators out. Also, the Rangers are going into overtime. We appreciate you joining, Crystal. It's always fun to have you in. And then, 2 tickets also guys come up. All right, guys. We have spent.
Are you tired? I'm tired.
I'm tired. This is one of our longest live stream ever, and we didn't even have a guest. There's going to be some fun stuff coming from our live streams in the year ahead. We're going to actually try to bring more people in on it. So if you're interested, if you're a regular attender, a creator that wants to join in on some of the fun, reach out to us by Instagram or Facebook. Let us know because we are trying to be more interactive. If you
have an idea for a live stream.
We have ideas. Stop dragging us through the mud.
I'm just saying.
You're a terrible brand rep.
I'm inviting collaboration. How is that being a terrible brand rep?
We have ideas. Some of them require outside help. So we will be working on that. But the next live stream, at least we do have teed up, and that is going to be our California trip report.
The other half of this trip.
This live stream would have been 4 hours
trying
long.
To conclude this after we talked for 2 hours without a lot. Oh my gosh.
It has been awesome catching up with y'all. I'm glad we are back, although we do obviously miss Hawaii already. But we have a lot of fun stuff.
We missed you guys too.
We did. And we have a lot of fun stuff planned for this year, this upcoming season. And we actually have a couple of trips already on the calendar that are coming up faster than you might think. So we have a lot to share with you all. And we're excited for Tim and Katie 2023. Yeah, I was going to ask Tim if you actually wanted to join, because you do know a thing or two about Hershey. I can't imagine why. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining. We are going to go ahead and cut it off here. Until next time, I'm Tim.
I'm Katie.
And every day
is a new adventure.
Thanks for joining us. First vlog from the Aulani Resort coming on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.